Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. And as promised, we have the transformation video for MP-52 Starscream. Just a real quick note before we start, there may be a few cuts here and there in the video, and that's purely for time saving. I want to try to keep this video as short as possible. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to convert Starscream from his robot mode to his F-15 mode and then back to robot. So first thing I do is I go ahead and I remove those null rays. Now you can leave these on during transformation, but I choose to take them off. That way it's one less thing that's in my way as I'm transforming. So while I have these in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and convert them over to the missile version for the jet mode. That way I have those ready. So take that one off, put it off to the side, do the same thing over here, and just flip that up. And now I have those ready for when he's a jet. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take these hands, I'm going to tuck them away. So you lift this panel underneath, rotate those hands 180 degrees and tuck that in, close that up, do the same thing over here, lift that up, rotate that hand 180 degrees, tuck it away, and then you're good to go. Now I'm going to just take these arms, I'm going to move them out of the way like this for now, and then we'll adjust these when we get him a little closer to jet mode. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these intakes, they're on double hinges, and I'm going to pull them up and bring them forward. I'm not going to try to lock them in anywhere yet. We'll just adjust these at the end of the transformation. Next thing, I'm going to come down here, turn my attention to these wings, and I'm going to take these wings and I'm going to pull them up and get them out of my way. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Unfortunately, on my copy, this wingtip is very loose, so if that dangles, sorry. Alright, now that we have that wing, or those wings out of the way, I'm going to take this piece right here, I'm going to lift that up, I'm going to rotate that 180 degrees, so that way that's good to go for the next step. Then I'm going to turn my attention down here, I'm going to try to get these wings out of my way. Turn my attention down here to this section, I'm going to unclip it right there, and that's what releases basically the torso. Alright, and now that we've done that, I'm going to rotate this torso around. You're going to need to squeeze Starscream's head buns, so you can shove his head through that area right there. Once you get his head clear, then just move those wings out of your way, enough to get some clearance to see what you're doing right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart. So what you do is you just take this, pull that out, and then you're going to rotate it so it's like that, and then you're going to take these two pieces, one on each side, and you're going to flip those down. Do the same thing over here. You can pull this seat back if you choose to do so. And then once you've done that, you can collapse this up and put that cockpit together. Just give it a squeeze like that. Alright, then you're going to close this nose cone, and then you're going to turn this nose cone counterclockwise 90 degrees to line that up. And then you have the front of the jet completed. Alright, now we're going to turn our attention to the inside, this cavity. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to get these two pieces right here collapsed in. So in order to do that, take Starscream's head, grab it and just pull it up and get it out of your way. Then pull this little butt flap out of your way. When you do this, you notice how he's kind of sitting like that. You're going to want him oriented like this. And the reason being is you have these plastic pieces right here that when that rotates, those stick up, and you don't want those in your way while you're trying to fold these pieces in. So take these pieces, fold them in, and then push this piece down. Do the same thing on the other side. Take that piece, fold it in, push that piece down. Alright, and then you're going to just maneuver the cockpit a little bit, because what you're going to do now is you're going to kind of tuck the head away in this little cavity right in here. So bring that head down and tuck it away so it's sitting right on top of those pieces. Let's go ahead and set him down. Hopefully this is a good view. Alright, what you're going to do with these is you're going to take the wing, you're going to open it up, you're going to lift this up halfway, and then you're going to pull it out. There's a slider right there. You're going to lift that up the rest of the way and then flip this 180 degrees. You're going to take these flaps and you're going to lift these flaps up and out of the way. Then there is, on the back side here, there's this little piece. You're going to flip that 180 degrees so it's like that. And then you're going to, probably be easier if I turn it around this way. Then you're going to rotate the wing and then rotate it again at that hinge point. So you should have something that looks like that. So this is the before, that's the after. All right. You can go ahead and close this up. Just give that a good squeeze. And then you have this wing ready to rotate down past that shoulder. So let's do the same thing with this wing over here. And now you have this wing ready to come down as well. And now what you've done, well, you got to get this little guy out of the way. There. So that's a mistake I've made more than once, so learn from my error. Now what you've done is you've given yourself the ability for these wingtips to clear this area right here without getting caught up. So if you had these arms tucked in first, you wouldn't get these wings to clear. Alright, so now that you have those wings clear, you're going to need to work on the area in here. This is where it gets kind of tricky because a lot of this goes by feel. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tuck this arm in so it's tucked away up under there. Then rotate this arm and bring it in like that. And then rotate here. Rotate at your elbow. And then right here on this, you're going to want to pull this out to allow the arm to rotate inward like that. Trying to focus on it. There we go. All right. Once you have that, you're just going to approximate this location. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side over here. So tuck that in, rotate this around, spin that shoulder in, rotate this at the elbow, pop this piece right there. That allows you to bend the arm, and you should have something approximating that. Now the tricky part here is going to be you have tabs on these wings right here and right here that are going to line up with the slots on those arms, and you lose a little bit of visibility because you need to bring this piece up. This is on a bit of a double hinge, right? Sorry, I hit my camera. This is on a bit of a double hinge right here. You're going to pull that forward, then you're going to just tuck that away as you bring these wings down. And then this is where you're going to lose your visibility because you need to get those tabs into those slots. So this is probably, if I'm going to have editing, this is where the editing is going to be. Because sometimes I can do this quick, sometimes it takes me a minute. So bear with me. It feels like they're in there pretty good. All right, then you take this piece, this tab right here goes into the slot just behind the cockpit. So pull this forward if you need to, and move these legs out of your way. If they're getting in your way, just go ahead and bring those down. That way you can bring this waist nice and close. And tuck this piece up in there. There we go. Alright, so whole lot of panel alignment is what's happening right here. This is absolutely the most difficult part of transformation, either direction. This right here, just getting all this aligned and put in the right spot, is definitely the most difficult part. Okay, so once you have all this, it's pretty much gravy. Now what I do is I fold these down so they're nice and flat. That allows me to access the legs. And the legs, they're pretty easy. There's not a lot to them. It's the easiest part of the transformation, actually. So you have a little tab and a slot system here and right there. You're just going to open this up. Right here on the shin, you're going to push that shin down. Then you're going to pull this foot apart until it disconnects right here. And once it disconnects, that will let the foot be oriented where it needs to be to collapse up inside the leg. Now right here on the outside, or this outside part of his leg, you have his flaps. So you're going to spin this, you're going to collapse that, you're going to bring it down, and then you're going to rotate it 180 degrees. And the reason you bring it down is you want to make sure that you have enough clearance right there to get that. Then you're going to rotate 180. Then all you're doing at this point is taking your tab, putting it in the slot, taking this tab and putting it in this slot. So bring that over and connect those two. And then take your kneecap, push that kneecap down. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. Now, once you have him in this position, you're going to need to collapse the legs. The easiest way to collapse the legs is to just give them a little bit of a bend and a little bit of a push right there. And do the same thing on the other side. A little bit of a bend and a little bit of a push right there. And then squeeze these thighs together to make sure that you have these as close together as possible so they will fit in this gap right here. All right. Now you could put the legs together at this point, but I choose to do the legs individually. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to take your flaps and now you're going to rotate them 90 degrees so these wings are facing the correct orientation. Push these down so they're out of your way, and then I start with either leg, it doesn't really matter. Bring that leg up and then give it a squeeze, line everything up. Give it a squeeze till you're flush. And then down here, right in this area, you're going to squeeze those two pieces together. And then for this flap, you're just going to line that up. It's probably easier to see on the camera from the bottom. Line that up so those are nice and flush right there. And we'll do the same thing for this leg. Now the only tricky part is because you have this tab right there and you have that slot right there on the legs, you're going to need to spread those open just a little bit to get them to fit together. So give that a little bit of a spread, bring that up, give this a squeeze right here. That way you get this all in the right spot. Squeeze those two things together. There you go. Make sure that you're together back here, and then make sure you have connected back here in this area, and then those flaps. And next thing you do is pull those thrusters out, and you can adjust the intakes right now if you want, but They're probably going to move on you a little bit because we still need to put the null rays on, which we're going to do now. So with the null rays, you have the connector right here, so pull that out, turn it, and bring it down so it's oriented like that. Do the same thing on this side, and then you can just take your null rays and you will connect them back in there, and then there's a slot here, corresponds to a tab on the null ray, and you will bring that back and connect those two, and you'll do the same thing here. Once you've done that, now he is actually really solid with these null rays on. Those wings are solid, they're not going anywhere, everything fits together nicely, works really well. So now your last steps are, of course, to open up your landing gear and bring those down. And if your landing gear are like mine, you may have one that's a little sticky. So it's always helpful to have yourself a nice little tool that you can use to grab that landing gear and pull it out. Pull those out until they click. And for the front, simply open that up, bring that down, and there you have Starscream in his F-15 Eagle mode. Alright, so to get Starscream back into his robot mode, personally I think it's a lot easier than getting him into jet mode because you don't have to worry about so much of this panel alignment right here. So just reverse most of your process here. Take your landing gear, put them away, and then take those null rays off if you choose to do so. If you don't, that's fine as well. It's just easier for me. Put those off to the side. You could go ahead and transform those now if you want to as well. Alright. Next thing that I do is I like to go ahead and disconnect these and pull them out of my way so they're clear, and then I push down with my thumb here, pull up with my finger, and disconnect that fin and that fin. That frees up my legs. I like to be safe. This isn't something you have to do, but I like to be safe and move these hip skirts manually. And then I'm going to bring these legs down so they're like that. If they haven't already, oh, and don't forget, if you're going to lay them flat, you can turn these now. And if they haven't already, go ahead and split these legs. And when you split them, you can give them a little bit of a bend and a pull, and that will bring them, extend them out to their full robot length. A little bit of a bend and a pull. All right, so now we'll get these transformed into feet. So just give that a little pull, bring that out. You can take this foot, bring the foot down until it clicks, push your thruster in, bring that shin out like that. Take this, rotate it 180 degrees, and then you're going to, for this flap, you're just going to push this flap in, and you're going to rotate it and have it oriented like that. And if you follow this line approximately right here, it will fall in nicely right into the leg. And then be sure to tab it in here and tab it in over here. And you have one leg done. So we'll turn our attention to the next one here, open this up. Now we have the legs all done. So now we can turn our attention to the rest of the Starscream. So the next thing that I do is I take that cockpit and I just bring that cockpit down a little bit. That's going to disconnect this. And then I'm going to give these wings a split. Just a gentle split. I'm not going to pull hard on them. And then once you do that, now you can get these wings up and out of your way, and then take this, what will eventually be his butt flap, and bring that on down. Again, remember this is on a double hinge, so alignment is important. So make sure you just bring that back and just tuck it away for now and get that out of your way. Now I'm going to take these arms, I'm going to bring them out, I'm going to bring them out again, and I'm going to bring them down. So I'm going to bring them out, bring them out again, and bring them down. And now those arms are out of my way. Now I need to turn my attention to the inside of this cavity. And I'm trying to do it without hitting my camera and still giving you guys a good view here. So make sure you grab Starscream by his head buns and lift his head up and out of the way. Once you've done that, you're going to grab these flaps in here, bring them straight out, and then again making sure that your body is oriented like this, not like that, like that. Take these flaps and swing them down on either side. All right, after you've done that, now you can start your work on the cockpit. So for the cockpit, take the nose cone, rotate it 90 degrees, lift that up. Then if you need to, get these wings out of your way so you can see what you're doing. Take this the cockpit right here, and you're going to split it right there. As you split it, don't forget to put this seat down. It will get in your way if you don't put it down. Let's get those intakes out of the way so you can see what's going on. Once you've split your cockpit like that, you need to take these pieces on either side, lift them up so you have something like that. Once you do that, you're going to give that a bend like that and then collapse that in on itself. So you should have something that looks like this. After you've done that, now you are going to rotate this all the way through. So you're going to get these wings out of your way, and then you're going to feed this through and bring this back. Make sure you've got his head tucked where it needs to be. So back that up a little bit, tuck his head away. There we go. Now you can bring this back just like that, and then you can lift this up. Just give this a little bit of a push, lift that up, and then once you're here, you can take this what will be his butt flap, and you can bring that down, press that until it clicks in place right there, and then you have a tab and a slot right there, and push those together, and that's going to keep this assembly in place. All right, once you have that, I'm going to go ahead and lay him down so we can work on those wings. So you have his wings like this. This is when you pulled them off, this is how they looked. So what you're going to want to do here is, I'm going to get that one out of my way. You're going to want to angle the wing right there and then bring the wing back right there. Once you've done that, you can take this piece, rotate it 180 degrees, tuck it up out of your way, open the flap up, or the top of the wing up, and then close these flaps in. And then for this piece up here, you're going to rotate it outward, rotate it 180 degrees right there, bring it halfway down, and then you have, it's easier to show right here, you have just kind of this area that collapses in on itself once you clear that little tab right there. So bring that down, clear the tab, squeeze that in. Bring this down the rest of the way. It's on a double hinge up here, and then you're going to bring this wing up and capture that right there. You have a slot and a tab, and then you're going to line those up, give those a squeeze, and then you have one wing done. All right, come over here, do the same thing with this wing. And there you have the wings done. Just tuck these tips away. This one is, as I said earlier, it's loose on mine, so he's going to flop around. Once you've done that, now you have a tab here. As you bring that down, you'll see that slot right there, and then you have a tab here and a slot there. So bring it down, close that one, and then this one takes a little bit more force, but you want to make sure that you have these flush. So give that a nice push and make that flush. So that way you should have something that looks like that, where it's all accordioned up in there. All right, take this piece, forgot to do this earlier, and just collapse that down, and that finishes up his backpack. Come over here to this wing, do the same thing, line everything up, and then give that a nice squeeze. And make sure that's in the right place. Sometimes those pieces will come up on you. If they do, they're fairly easy to access and you can push those down. So you should have something that looks like that, and you should be pretty good to go from there. Now I'm going to turn my attention to these arms. So I'm going to rotate these arms around to give me the approximate correct orientation. And then for these pieces right here, you're just going to, trying to think for the camera here, what would be the best view? You're going to rotate it like that, and then you're going to capture this piece right here, and then bring this down and give it a squeeze. So you should have something that looks like that, so that way you're bending at the elbow and not at the bicep. And do the same thing over here. So rotate that around, bring it down, give it a squeeze, and then push your shoulders in and rotate those arms around. Open those hands up, or open those forearms up, take the hands out, rotate the hands around 180 degrees, do the same thing over here. All right, and come up here to these intakes. So these intakes are kind of a two-step process. So you have double hinges. So you're going to lift that up on that double hinge, you're going to bring it back, and then you're going to press right there until it collapses in. Do the same thing on the other one. Give it a push till it collapses in. Now on the back side, if you look back here, you have tabs and slots on either side. So what you want to do is, what I do is I push my finger in that intake, I line that up until that tab and that slot are aligned, and do the same thing over here. Give that a bit of a squeeze. There we go. And then that makes sure, at least for me, that he's even that much more solid. So that way you can rotate those out. And then we're ready to put the null rays on. So null ray transformation, move this back, lift this up, close that, and plug it into the arm. And do the same thing. Stand up for me, buddy. There you go. Open this up, flip that out, close that, and plug it into the arm. And there you have Starscream 100%. Nope, I missed it. The kneecaps. Push them up. There. Now you have Starscream 100% transformed into his robot mode. So guys, I really hope this transformation video helped. I know it's a little bit long, but I try to be detailed with this stuff to make sure that I cover everything and try to help you avoid some of the errors that I've made in transformation as well. So if you like what we do here, be sure to like, hit that subscribe button, leave us some comments, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Take care.